Yo, 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 yo. Got my dad, the big RJ.
This is rapper James.
In the you're gonna rap?
Yeah.
All right, let me hear it. Let me hear
Unknown
it.
caller.
Spam. Hold on. Let's answer it.
Donnie, apologize for missing your call. If you're interested in
Hello?
selling your property, please leave me a detailed message about
Hello?
the subject property and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you and have a good day. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Okay. Oh man. I was hoping it was a spam call where
You can read it.
someone was on the other line.
Phone caller.
Oh, let's try it again.
Hello?
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 Hi, yes, sir.
Hello.
Hello? May I speak to John Zink?
John? Hold on, let me see.
Uh-huh.
Let me see.
John.
Let me see if he's here real quick. Hold on a second.
Pardon?
Let me see if he's here real quick. Hold on.
These nuts. Got him. Got him. Oh. Whoa. Whoa.
Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, hi.
Are you Mr. John or not?
Well, you called me. So who are you calling?
John Zink. I'm calling
Oh.
for John Zink.
Oh, no. No John here.
Oh, so you're not. Okay. Thank you so much for answering then. May you have a great day then.
Hey, guess.
Bye.
Hello? Yo, what's up?
Well, I just finished up with the customer for the night, so we can now dedicate some podcast time.
Heck yeah. Just so you know, my dad's sitting in the studio with us, so he may not speak, but he's listening to us live. And dude, you know, while we were waiting, it was divine intervention that you asked me for 5 more minutes. You know why?
Why's that?
Because I got one of the spam calls, and she got the D's nuts thing, and it was already recording.
Oh, that's awesome.
Isn't that awesome? And then she actually stayed on the line and was like, with an attitude, "Are you John Zink or not?"
Oh.
I was like, "I don't know." Well, you called me, so who are you looking for?
Are you looking for this guy, or are you just making some name up?
Oh, but she hung up because I tried to get her with the D's nuts again. But oh, am I allowed to do that in today's world, or am I gonna be considered? Never mind. Let's not go there.
So check out what I answer. If I know it's a scammer from anything Minnesota 507, because they normally go according to the area code they see for my number, and I just answer 911 emergency. How can I help you? And they all hang up.
Oh, really?
Every time 911 emergency. How can I help you? They don't stay on the line for some reason.
No, I actually entertain the call, acting like I'm like some drug dealer or someone.
Oh, there you go.
And I'll usually hold on, I gotta take another hit. So
Awesome.
So I love it, man. So how you been?
Really good. Had a pretty exciting week, and Dan's been blowing up my phone, ready to get another podcast going for part 2 on Russ Farnsworth.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, I am too. Actually, I've just been swamped this week, and I want to call him back, and it's not that he's not important, but of all the things that keep racking and stacking up in life, that you know I'm going with that, right?
Oh, you need to dedicate 2 hours just to listen to him use the F word 116 times in sentences. And he's so involved with this situation right now. It's hard to talk to him because he gets so deep, and now there's all this new information. I was like, man, at some point this guy's just going to either give up the land or you're going to have to find $100,000 to go get a lawyer to fight this.
Right. And honestly, Russ's YouTube page, he posted a really good video.
Yep, I saw that one.
It actually was a really good. I actually watched the whole thing and was like, okay, now this is good. It was actually really good content. And I'm like, you don't need to do a podcast with me to share the story. You just got to do what you just did.
And that's it. And here's how I'll tell you how far behind in times. I think Casey Anthony was big news a few years ago when she did what she did to her child.
Mm-hmm.
And I posted on Facebook, looks like Casey Anthony's not getting a stimulus check for her child for the third straight year or something. And Russ, he's like, what happened? I need to know this. Like, he was curious. He's like, why is she not getting a stimulus check for her child? Like, thinking he's going to defend her because he didn't know the situation.
Oh,
this man
he was
been away from mainstream for a while. He had no idea who Casey Anthony is.
He was ready. Holy smokes.
So he was ready to defend Anthony, like, well, why don't she get a stimulus? She deserves one for her child like everyone else. I said, yeah, she may have done something really bad to her child a few years back, and she don't deserve a stimulus for child or her. So, but so we're friends on Facebook now, so it's kind of interesting.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So, man,
check this out. Did you hear about my customer today from Haiti?
I did not, but is that the guy you were doing the shots with?
One shot. I was being good.
And then I saw your post. He was there during the floods, right?
The earthquake.
Right? The earthquake. And then, so do you want to talk about that and just segue in? So you notice today we didn't do the old, is this Rusty's Garage thing? I think we just scrap that shit and just get right into the meat and potatoes of talking shit and whatever else is going on in Rusty's Garage.
We can change it up and we can talk about the world right now if we want. I'm staying away from politics, though.
Well, I saw you and Terrell get into it. But before we talk about you and Terrell and that, if we did, let's talk about your Haitian customer.
So, I get a call. His name is Rudy. He gets my information from AutoZone, calls me up. We talk. Hey, I got some issues with my Dodge Dakota. Can you look at it? Found out, he shows up. Found out he started Facebook stalking me as soon as he got my name because he wants to know who he brings his car to. He's very inquisitive. 23-year-old man, but he wanted to make sure he bring it to the right mechanic. Well, he saw there was not one bad review on Facebook Marketplace or wherever he found me. Shows up. We fix his car. Will he tell us his story a little bit? I kind of asked because I noticed he was missing one arm, from a left arm all the way up to his shoulder.
Yeah. Okay.
So, how's life been? What happened? I'm kind of curious. Well, he was at the earthquake in 2010, lost his entire family in his house. He was the only one that survived in the house.
Oh, wow.
Lost my brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, grandma, grandpa, everyone is gone. And then he lost his arm in the process. Well, he gets adopted by a family here in the U.S. in Texas, and they've raised him since he was 12. And this guy had the most optimistic outlook on life. He's so happy he met me, and he bought this really nice Dodge Dakota. He's got a second child on the way in 10 months, so he's been busy. But this guy is just an awesome, optimistic human being for what the hand, he was dealt.
Yeah.
And so I think I had about 3 hours of work into his vehicle, and I charged him $50. I charge $90 an hour. Typically, I should have made about $270. I charged him $50 for 3 hours. Kind of got his life story, but just a good human being.
Oh man, that is awesome.
And the people you meet in this world. And I said the fact he Facebook stalked me, we had to have a good laugh on that one.
So I just want to make sure that the listeners understand. So $50 an hour if you have a great story and a missing arm, or
you know what? I don't want to have everybody come and missing arms. I don't want people to intentionally remove an arm just for that reason. And so I will say this. Typically, I give discounts when I see certain things about a person, or I kind of catch on to their budget.
Right.
Where they don't bring it to a dealership for a reason. I'm not saying I overcharge anyone, but there is, like the lawyer world, there's some of that pro bono or discounted work. I do offer that.
Right. Well, we all know what Rusty's Garage is about, though.
It's all good intent, and like I said, it's never to rip anyone off. this week I had to tell a lady bad news. I quoted her $5.75 when I finished up. I said the bad news is I saved you $300. It's $2.75. I did it faster than what the book says.
Oh wow, that's pretty awesome. I think
so.
Dad, have you ever been ripped off by a service department?
More
No.
than
He said no.
Never tell you
he don't let them rip him off. He seems like a tough cookie that he doesn't let them pull one over on him.
Well, the service departments at car dealerships charge you incorrectly. And I've been ripped off a lot.
See?
Mhm.
Oh, big time. Anyways, sorry. I figured I was like, you know what? Someone would be like, why didn't you ask your dad a question? He's sitting there on the mic. So badass, dude. You know, good on you, man. I need to go back and read the story. So what was wrong with his Dodge Dakota?
So basically, he was getting a ABS sensor code. So we changed the rear ABS sensor and the rear differential. When I pulled it out, I saw the fluid was disgusting. He just bought the vehicle yesterday. So then we drained the fluid, refilled it with Royal Purple. That stuff is, 1 quart is $23. It's $65 for 3 quarts of this stuff, but it's the best on the market, or some of the best. And so I took care of that also, and he's got some more work he wants to do. This boy loves his wife. Here's what I'll tell you. He drove to Austin, which is 90 miles away, because she wanted Haitian food. He drove 180 miles from the time I met him this morning, did the first job. He drove to Austin, got her food, and came back to me for the second job.
Well, yeah.
180 for Haitian food, because he said wife is like 9 months pregnant, 8 months pregnant, and she wanted that food. So I give the boy kudos.
Yeah, well, you have to chart you, dude. He's gonna be like a frequent flyer for oil changes with you. Did you?
At that rate, he will be, especially if it's conventional and doing it every 3,000. Yes.
Yeah.
Here often.
Holy crap! And ABS is that anti-lock brake system?
Yep. And that's what makes it pulsate. When you hit the brakes, you slam them to the floor, it'll pulsate to a stop versus hitting them hard like the old, muscle cars. And that's why you skid out of control and nip in a ditch, where it will let on and off of that rotor 100 times in 10 seconds.
And I think mine grinds all the time too. It's like this.
Make that noise. Yep. And that's how fast that thing is pulsating to stop that vehicle, but it's not locking them up where it puts you in a really bad. ABS is huge technology. It's awesome stuff, especially for like young kids that are clueless when it comes to, a deer cross the road, they lock them up, and now they jeopardize their life. They crash in a ditch. They didn't realize how dangerous it was, how steep it was. It had fence posts in it, and now they're dead over a deer they should have just hit.
Yeah, no shit. And we just had a 22nd birthday with Alexis, right?
We did, and she has a lifetime wish.
What's
but
that?
I don't feel. She said, "Dad, if you quit drinking, from this point forward, forever." And so I tried to work with, what are you quitting forever? If I quit drinking for you forever, which I feel is not a bad thing.
No.
What are you quitting? Well, she didn't have an answer for me, so. I'm kind of waiting for her to drop something. Hey, you got to stop drinking Coke for the rest of your life. I'll drop something for you, but you need to drop something for me. It's mutual.
And it has to be like equivalent. So that's right.
Collecting Pokemon on that Pokemon Go is not something I'm going to say is comparable. Like,
no.
You need something comparable that you stop doing in your life that you do enjoy. And I don't need to go overboard and drink 8 days a week. I can slow down to 1, which I've been doing.
1 a week or 1 a day?
No, about 1 a week. I am drinking right now for the podcast. Don't tell anyone.
No, that's expected. I have not done my end of the deal. I've never drank yet.
Well, that's good, though. Nothing wrong with that.
Well, I'm actually drinking a Bubbly Bounce because I drink the sparkling water, and Bubbly just came out with a caffeinated version.
How can you drink that stuff? I'll spit it out. Oh my gosh.
Well, so when I love soda, so I do like soda, and I found that in order to keep my keg, non-Viking size, so mini keg beer, right? Because I don't have a 6-pack, I have a keg. To keep it mini keg, I can't drink soda, but if I want that carbonated, feel. then I drink it. And at first it sucked. I was like, but then don't drink that and don't drink soda for I did 6 months last year without drinking a soda.
I think I went 6 months and 15 when I was in Kuwait. I was trying to gain 25 pounds. I ended up putting up 100. But I did energy drinks, but no soda, which is no better because they got sugar in them.
Nah, yeah, I lived off of Rippets when we were downrange, so that's
I can't even.
So, dude, check this out, because I'm gonna have to put out a plug and badmouth GMC and SCA. You ready to hear my story?
Let's hear it.
So, this is how it started, right? Is one day I was walking out to the truck, and I was like, what the fuck is this bolt? There was a bolt that was just put up like on a ledge of the wall walking out the front door. And come to find out, it was one of the bolts that go into the wheels. So the wheels have a piece on the truck. The wheels have a piece that are bolted on to give it kind of like a just more cosmetic look, right?
Okay, yep.
I was like, damn. I was like, I'm not even at 3,000 miles and bolts already falling off. Then I had my car washed. I always have my boy at Finish Line come here, and he's like, hey, you're missing a bolt on the body kit, a screw. And so, so I reach out to SA and I'm like, what kind of fucking bullshit is this? I'm at 3,000 miles and I've already had 2 bolts fall off this car, right?
Too many.
Too many. Oh, but it gets even deeper, right? So this is what I discovered this week. And it's so disappointing because you know what the cost of this vehicle is. So when GMC sends the truck over to SCA, when you pay for the truck, the sticker says there's an upgraded suspension, right? It's lifted.
Okay.
So as I'm getting to know this vehicle more and more, I was looking at the front and I was like, wait a minute. I was like, why are there Rancho shocks in the front? Because in the back, there's Fox. Because the upgrader, the Fox shocks. So.
And I have back of mine.
You have what?
I have Rancho. Yep.
Yeah, you have Ranchos, right? Because that's a GMC Chevy thing, the Ranchos. And so then I was like, so I paid for an upgraded suspension for half the car?
Oh, what'd they say to that?
Well, so I reached out to SCA and they're like, yeah, we only upgrade the rear and we just put these little extenders on the front. And I said, but that's not an upgraded suspension. I mean, I'm sure to them, they've manipulated it down to where some fucking dirtbag lawyer has said, yeah, you can't be sued for that. I'm like, who upgrades half a suspension? And so, of course, where do you think I went next? To the Facebook AT4 forums. And of course I got thrashed as a non-off-roader and, like, why the fuck would you buy that truck? You know what I mean? Because you know how it is. So, and I was like, well, first of all, I went to get a Denali and a Raptor first. That's a consistent story. I went to get a Raptor first. They didn't have any. Went to get a Denali. They didn't have any. So anyways, that's my story. I'm like, who in the fuck upgrades half a suspension?
Obviously FCA.
And GMC too, right? I mean, GMC.
Oh, they hire them. They hire them to do it.
So that was this week. So anyways, dude, what's been going on in Rusty's garage besides blue coolant or blue fluid that was put in the wrong of a BMW or?
Full gallon of coolant in her oil crankcase on a 2008 BMW X5 3.0. And it was so beautiful coming out. It looked like straight Kool-Aid. I wanted to drink it. However, I took the high road and didn't. But I videoed it, put it on Facebook so everyone could see it. And I'll say I give this woman kudos. So she's also married to a retired 21-year Air Force Master Sergeant, just like me and your father, Master Sergeants. We're tough.
Yeah.
We're tough. And so she didn't want to get killed by her husband. So she went online to try to find someone that could do an oil change ASAP because she caught it before she started it. So she did not run the vehicle with water in it or coolant.
Right.
And she put in for mobile mechanic and whoever had the most references or the most compliments, and I came up. So I took that as a huge compliment.
Right.
I've only been here really working since October. So we're talking 5 months, and at least I'm the number. And now she's the third one in a week that says I went on. And the Haitian was one of them that I went on Facebook and looked for who has the most reviews on this Cibolo shirt Community One, and I'm the number one guy, I guess, right now.
Okay.
So I take that as a good sign that my politics haven't screwed up a job, my maybe vulgar language at times, or just the goofy person I am in general hasn't affected me yet for a negative review.
No, not yet. I will tell you where there is one failure, though. 1 point of failure.
Let's hear it.
All right, you ready? You ready for it?
Yes, I'm ready.
We have not seen the Kicking It with KJ subscription numbers go up.
So we got to push. And this last one, what was the last one for views?
Well, 406 has been there for a little bit, but I mean, we need to make sure when Rusty's Garage comes to the rescue with that cape, the conversation always has a caveat that says, "Hey, are you subscribed to this?"
Oh, you know what? I will do that for every single one of my videos. You know what? I'm going to kick myself in the ass because I should have been doing that from the start. You know what? I like.
Because I was thinking like you rescued someone. It's like, I share a lot of stories on this podcast about all kinds of shit.
I tell you, I did not think outside the box on this.
No, it's okay. That's what?
Why they didn't promote you.
You said that's why they didn't promote you. You said that's the difference between a master sergeant and a chief.
Well, because you're absolutely right. Thinking about like, why am I not adding the podcast and adding, links? Say, hey, you know what? Here's what I did today. I helped this person. I did that. Hey, check out some stuff I talk about on Kicking It with KJ.
Yeah.
And then they get other stories. And these are customers that every person knows 1,000 people. You only have to get one person that's interested in your life, and you got 1,000 viewers.
Yeah, you would think, brother, man. So that's my challenge to you, Rusty, is like when you're down there watching that blue Kool-Aid come out, and I heard you. I watched the video, so you were like, it should turn black soon, and it did. Like I think within like 15 seconds.
It did, yeah.
That's where you go out there and say, hey, you got YouTube? I need you to go ahead and get that open real quick while I'm rescuing you. Anyways, dude. Absolutely. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that real quick about how the average person can actually make that mistake and put coolant in the oil.
And I will say this, older vehicles, a lot of the caps, whatever was on there from the factory has worn off. So if you see something that says 5W30 on the Duramax cap, well, I would say 1540, I'm sorry, but for the gas vehicles, 5W30s, 5W20s, 540, 1040, and then you got your 020s. And it'll say it on your cap. It'll recommend the oil. But again, older vehicles, that has worn off. This woman straight didn't even look at the cap when she poured the whole gallon in. She's like, God, that took a full gallon. Why so much? She saw the cap after she poured the whole gallon in and caught it. So there's, on top of a mistake, there's huge kudos that she caught it and didn't destroy her motor.
That is huge.
But this is where it is. And this is where I kind of told her, you can be upset with yourself. It's going to cost you a little bit of money, but it's $175 for an oil change on an X5 at BMW.
Right.
I made a mobile call to her house, brought the oil, brought the filter, $125 for everything.
Yeah.
Showing up, there's my, hey, just showing up, I'm here fee, and then there's, hey, this is what I'm putting the oil, blah, blah. So $125. Then I changed her oil a second time, and I charged her $80. Basically, I charged her $20 for the job. It was $60 for oil and filter. So for $200, she's got 2 oil changes, which is only $25 more than the initial oil change if she went to BMW.
That's pretty good. How do you? So I saw you drain the blue fluid. But I mean, I guess it's not going to hurt the engine if there's like a little small amount of that coolant in there. Like, does it make sense? It's
you get 99% of it out of there, and the fact she didn't run it. So what it was is the bearings are so tight on that crankshaft, and the oil is surrounding those. When she put the water in, she didn't run the motor for that water to probably really seep into the main bearings, really to seep into every nook and cranny, and it was only in her motor for 40 minutes.
Got it.
So that's a big difference than a head gasket blowing where your water mixes with your oil and then you run it for 100 miles, 40 miles, whatever the case may be, and you got all this water inside your main bearing. and then you start where you're damaging everything.
Wow.
So she caught it in time. I don't see there being any damage, but it is BMW. It's a Bring Money Weekly. That's what they stand for. You just got to be careful.
Bring Money Weekly. Well,
and Mercedes is no different. You want to hear another good one?
Yeah.
Lady has a broken window motor or a failed motor, and the dealership wants $1,390 to do a single failed motor on the driver's side door. It's a 20-minute job. I did it for $330, but she was still irate because the part took an extra day and a half longer than she expected it. I told her it had to be in the next day. They told me it would be. Well, it took 2 days, not one. And this woman's livid. And I was like, I saved you $1,000. You're driving a Mercedes. What do you want from me? And I was very nice. And she even said, Rusty, don't think I'm coming at you on this. She was just mad the part took longer. I saved you $1,000. She's like, well, I lose 130 a day not working. I said, well, I saved you $1,000, so you don't have to work for 6 days if you go through me. Technically.
Yeah. Well,
and
yeah. People don't see it that way though. We live in a world of instant gratification, and I can understand it. Like, that's the biggest. I hate waiting, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I told her this, and I wasn't rude, but I said, ma'am, if you're looking for good deals on work on your car, buy Toyota, Honda, Nissan, Ford, Dodge, Chevy, whatever the case may be, but more, not a high-end car, not Lexus, not Mercedes, not Infiniti, not, BMW. I said, you chose to buy a Mercedes and you're upset about a cost. I said, the window motor is $25 for a General Motors Malibu. And it was $246 for hers. Just a single window motor.
Wow.
That's you're paying the name. You buy them all you want, but if you only make $37,000 a year, don't buy a Mercedes.
I agree. And the average oil change costs right now about what?
75.
75.
For 75 for some of the newer trucks, GM trucks and stuff, and like I said, Mercedes is $260 for an oil change here in Selma, Texas. Rusty's Garage is $20. Bring me the oil and the damn filter, and I'll do it.
$20, Dad. That's almost about the cost when you were 18, wasn't it?
I would say we could get them done for that back then. Maybe $1 a quart of oil, or even less. Where 5 quarts of oil was $5.
Back in my day, everybody knew how to change their own oil.
Oh, well,
and
they could. We could too. Rusty talked about that though before, how they've almost made it impossible for you to change your own oil for the average person, But
and learn what vehicles I'm willing to do it on. There are vehicles I don't want to do an oil change on ever, and diesel trucks are one of them because they come out like a fire hose, and your whole driveway is solid oil if you don't have the large enough container, and it's just a pain in the ass. But it's my personal vehicle. I'll do a diesel truck because I'm not going to have someone else do my AMS oil change. And I don't know if you ever want AMS oil there, Kevin, but $98 it cost me for the oil and the filter for 10 quarts. I think you're less than that in the 3.0. It's a 25,000 mile oil change if you get the good AMS oil. I don't think I'll go that far, but you can go 15 all day long for $95. You buy it. I have a commercial account. I'd send it to you. Might be pro bono even. I'll send you free. The first one will be free. You just got to find someone to change the stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm 3,500 miles in, and it still says I'm about 85% good in oil. Like, I don't know. I mean, everything now. Remember, we talked about this on the idiot lights. So when it comes to these cars now, though, it's not quite idiot light, but it's like the deaf warning. Like, hey, it's time, So I'm guessing now, in my experiences, when you get that notification that it's time for an oil change, you probably still have about 600 miles, probably give or take, depending on the vehicle. So, you kind of almost rely on it and stuff like that. So did this Mercedes have black leather?
Oh, it did. Absolutely. And it was a black vehicle too.
Yeah. Well, do you remember what you wanted to talk about with black leather in the midsummer Texas heat?
Well, you're going to get some burn marks unless you have limo tint, ceramic limo
Right.
tint, not just the limo tint. There's people that obviously get used to it. We have a black Lexus with black leather interior, but again, have limo tint 5%, so it's a little bit better. But you almost want to put a towel down or something when you initially get in that thing in 109 degrees because it's going to burn your ass.
Well, I'm looking at your text, though. You said, I would like to point out you should not try to make love on black leather seats midsummer in Texas.
No. When did I post that?
That's on the text message to me. So for the audience out there, Rusty wanted to talk about coolant systems being in the summer months and air conditioning, right? Which we'll touch on. But what stood out to me the most was you should not try to make love on black leather seats midsummer in Texas. And I just figured it was a good segue since you said it was black leather.
It leaves too many marks and there's too much contraband, and it the kids get in the back seat after that and they're wondering what it looks like. Somebody spilled yogurt all over the back seat. It looks terrible.
Somebody spilled yogurt all over the back.
I apologize. You can edit that out.
No. We don't edit. We don't edit Rusty's Garage.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm trying to be appropriate for the 8-year-olds that are listening to this, which I don't believe are listening to this. So we're good.
If they are, they're lying on YouTube because all my content gets posted is not kid friendly.
Oh, what? That they shouldn't be listening. And I'd love for my son to listen to it, or even my children in Delaware. But
right,
I know Lexi's listened to the last two, and
right.
She called me, gave me insight, so that was huge.
Yeah. See, so you're good, man. We're good. We're good in Rusty's Garage. So you wanted to talk about a few things, and something inspired that. And so, I mean, me and the audience are all ears on definitely air conditioning and the coolant. And I didn't know if the coolant was motivated by what you went through with the lady at the BMW. So, hey, man, let's talk about coolant and air conditioning, especially in hotter climates.
And I'll tell you, I prefer not to do AC if I can help it. However, down here, that could be my bread and butter for the next 3 months because I didn't think about this, but someone brought it up yesterday. When it comes to AC, what immediately happens to your body and your mind if you're in your house and your AC just quits and it's 102 degrees? Or if you're in your car in Vegas, and I've been through Vegas in a 98 Corvette with no AC midsummer.
Well, not in my car, but let me tell you, it happened here in this house in the summer. So we have dual climate upstairs, downstairs, right? But the new houses, they don't have the old. So the older houses in Vegas will have 2 AC units on the roof, one that controls downstairs, one that controls upstairs. So
and they're on the roof.
Yeah, so on the old houses, the AC units are actually on the roof. We have one single AC unit. And there's a motor and dampening system upstairs that allows us to have dual climate. Does that make sense?
It does. Absolutely.
Right. Well, so the unit went out and we couldn't understand what happened. So what had happened is the dampening, the motor burnt out and the dampener stayed closed. So the AC wouldn't run up to upstairs and heat rises. So the AC was fine downstairs. Then you went upstairs, you almost died. So, and this is during COVID. So guess what? Everybody's at home. And so, you call the AC company and what do you think the first thing they tell you is?
3,000.
Well, not necessarily in the cost at first, because they still got to come out there. What they tell you is they're like, all right, listen, we can have a technician out there in 2 to 3 hours, maybe 4, but we need you to shut the AC unit down now because we don't need it to have ice in case we needed to work on it.
Correct. They're right. I agree with them on that.
So guess what you're doing in the house? You're fucking hot, sweaty, and pissed off. So going back to what you asked.
Here's what I was going to say. A person is willing to spend any amount of money in their checkbook or in their savings to be comfortable. And when you think of the vehicle could run like a dump truck. The brakes are bad. The freaking engine literally broke off the motor mounts and it runs like shit. And people are okay with that. The minute that AC goes out and they're uncomfortable and it's miserably hot, I didn't realize how readily a checkbook just opens up and like, just tell me how much I need it fixed.
Yeah.
I don't get that. I don't get that for 90% of jobs. Someone's like, Rusty, it's got a rough idle. Can you just see if is it just the spark plugs and we just replace those? Is it just the throttle body? Can we just replace? They want just the bare minimum done, just so the engine runs well enough for them to get to wherever they need to go. AC is not the same. And so I did a Mitsubishi Mirage with a 1.2 liter, and the lady could not find an air compressor for the life of her, and she wanted her daughter to get the AC done in her car with leftover money for basically from the stimulus. She didn't want her to blow the full $1,400.
Right.
Now, kind of a guilt trip on me. Do I give her a better deal so I don't take all of her stimulus money? But this goes back to me as a human being. She got a $1,000 quote on the compressor, and I was going to be $200 labor and Freon, so $1,200. I called AutoZone. They special ordered it from an outside buy. You can't do that if you're coming in. You coming off the street, Kevin, you can't buy it that way. I can because I'm commercial. I got it for $650.
Right.
End up getting the job down for $850. So this girl now has herself $550 to go blow from her stimulus. And I can still sleep at night. I still made money. She's happy as shit. And everybody goes home happy.
Yeah.
But I don't make any money on that deal, but I did find a cheaper part that I could get for her and get it put in and like I said, make her life a little bit better. But that basically is a shoebox on wheels. That Mirage is a tiny car.
That's a Mitsubishi, right?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
With a 1.2 liter, and that is one beast of a 72 horsepower motor.
Wow.
Yeah,
72 horsepower. That's like my dad's Hyundai. We don't even call it horsepower. We call it mochi power, which is huh?
That's funny.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's a ferret. So we're basically saying it's 3 ferret power.
Well, the old 4-cylinder Mustang from 78 to 92, 93, 88 horsepower. Those were speed demons.
Yeah, that's true. Like, yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, it's ridiculous because the Mustang now is like at what, 400 or 500?
The standards are 450, these 5.0s, and the GT 500s are going to like 700. They got 1,000 horsepower, upgraded Shelby's out there. Mustang, are really tough cars on the road. My 05 Corvette is competitive with most of them. I run an 11-second quarter mile.
Right.
But there are Mustangs that would eat me for breakfast. They're a tough car.
Wow, that's amazing. Wow.
Yep.
So the checkbooks, huh?
Go ahead.
No.
I'm sorry. No, but back to AC. Everybody's going to need it, other than maybe Canadians. They might be cool for a little bit longer.
Right.
The big thing is you're at the mercy of whatever shop you take it to when it comes to AC work, and 99% of people have no clue how HVAC systems work. And I learn a little bit even as we go, but it's one of those. It's a process, to find the leak, to find the failed component, to find out if it's just low on fluid. If you got a shit box, which I consider a car under the value of $1,500, and you need Freon, just keep putting Freon in it. And you know what? It's $8 a can, but don't go, blow $1,200 on bringing it to a shop. Just learn how to put a can in it every month. Or put stop leak, which you got Freon 34 with stop leak. Save yourself the money. Do $8 a month. Just take it out of your budget and don't replace parts. Just try to keep filling that up. But it's not good for the environment either because you're releasing R134.
Yeah. And you know what? There's nothing better than driving home in a nice air-conditioned vehicle to go watch some of that wholesome, family-friendly performances on TV.
Oh, the Grammys.
You like, how about that WAP?
I'll be honest. When you're a single male at 18, you're looking for that, to create human life, I guess. So that's what you strive for. Because you don't want DAP. You want WAP, not DAP.
Yeah.
Right? So that makes sense. and to create human life, you know what? Guess what?
Hold on a
That's
second.
great.
What's DAP? Dry ass pussy?
Yes. So everybody prefers WAP over DAP. And the moral of the story is, guess what? I would have no problem with that stuff, but you can't cancel everything else out there and say this is reasonable and this is okay, and society should see her do what she did on national TV.
Right.
6 Dr. Seuss books. And again, these books haven't been read by most people in their entire lives, much less who just read it last week and said, I'm sick of seeing someone talk about people with sticks. Well, Chinese use chopsticks. Asians use chopsticks. I don't think that's derogatory, but that's just me, in my opinion. And again, it's no different saying, rednecks do this with their vehicles, and they put smokestacks out the back of their truck, and it's dumb. And Hispanics might do Daytons, and African Americans might do 22s. Guess what? Everyone does their own little thing, right?
Right. Yeah, but it's cool and it's popular to be offended.
And that's what it is. If you take offense to something, I'm going to piss and moan about it till I get my way.
Yeah.
Pepe Le Pew, he wasn't a rapist, but he did push himself a little too hard on a cat. Let's just say that.
He may have, but let me tell you something, man. You know how many people I've met in my life where when I ask, how did you two meet? And the wife at the time who loves her soulmate was like, man, this dude was just so persistent. He wouldn't leave me alone.
Oh, that's funny.
Like, have you ever heard that story? If you ask a couple who's been together a long time and the girl blows him off and he's just persistent and he keeps trying, and that was what made her realize that's what she loved, because she wanted to see who was willing to work for it.
I tell you, Darlene I had to try 4 times.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, like, I right? Do you see what I'm saying? And so, I mean, I'm not saying shit don't happen, right? I mean, it's kind of like, it depends on how you want to weaponize it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if someone who actually in life experiences certain things, I can understand why they can see that and feel the way they feel. But I can also see the stories of where the male didn't give up, and that's their soulmate. And this just makes sense. And so to me, it's like, but how do we get to a point where we just label it as this and it's no good anymore?
And I think that's where it becomes the minority makes the decisions, not the majority. And I think you're on the same page. And Sherelle and I truly consider him a friend. But I said, who's going to jump in and defend Cardi B and what she does? But we allow South Park and we allow Family Guy. Why are they're not outlawed.
Well,
they're late night TV. They're not outlawed either.
It's got to be coming, dude. It's got to be coming. You know what I mean? Peter Griffith from Family Guy. I mean, that whole...
Quagmire is straight a rapist. This guy is a turd. I mean, this guy goes after the young ones, the old ones, same sex, opposite. This guy just all over the place with this. When do they get canceled? Because they should be canceled way before Pepe Le Pew, Dr. Seuss, or Mr. Potato.
I mean, because that's. I mean, how about this one? I got these popsicles in my basement.
Well, that's
Family Guy.
That guy is creepy. That's Joe Biden, right?
But
I threw up politics. That is some old man that's creepy.
But I mean, but that's my point, and I think that's what people.
Come on, man.
That's what creates.
Come on, man.
That's what creates the discord, though. You know what I mean? Is like that's what I think. Like that whole argument you were saying. Like I even it's like, don't pick and choose. You know what I mean? Like if we're gonna
allow it all, or if you're going to be selective for everything. Don't make it just this. But when does our country get to the point where everything is outlawed and we become Nazi Germany again?
I think it's. This is what I think. I think there's a lot of people out there that just. I don't know. I don't know what to think about them. I think everybody has a damn opinion now, and everybody thinks they're right. I'm like, at some point in time, someone's wrong. You know what I mean? Or at some point in time, you're not wrong, but I'm not wrong. I think it's actually more of that. I think it boils down to more like, well, you're not necessarily wrong for feeling the way you feel, but either am I. But you're seeing things transform. Even look, we've steered away from Rusty's Garage, but this is shit we would talk about while you were changing my oil. So,
Yep.
Like today, right? When I'm reading about the Air Force, I still dabble in that stuff like that. And, you know, you got some fucking ass clown out there who's a SARC talking about, I've never ran across false allegations. And you got on another webpage, the Airman NCO Senior NCO, you got all these people who are former OSI, command. They're like, false allegations are big time happening. Right. Yep. And so, what do you say? Because, I mean, I'm sorry. If you've been accused falsely, you're just as much as a victim as someone who has actually been a victim of that stuff. I mean, a victim is a victim is a victim. I'm not labeling like what's worse or more traumatic, because there's traumatics when you're falsely accused and your career's been impacted, or your spouse has left you, or your trust within the family. You know what I mean? You create doubt.
Oh, absolutely.
And again, what did I say earlier? Weaponizing. So when people are smart enough to manipulate or weaponize a system or process and play the victim to achieve and gain what they want, you're going to tell me that don't happen? Of course it happens. It doesn't mean everyone who says something happened to them in life are lying, but it muddies the waters, right? And so I think we live in times, man, where shit's like really fucked up. I mean, and honestly, I was talking to this guy, right? So it's really weird. We're polar opposites, because I got 5 boys and a girl, and he had 5 girls and a boy.
Oh, it's expensive.
And I said, it's funny. I said, once upon a time, I said, most dads would just worry about someone hurting their daughter. I said, I am terrified now that someone will falsely accuse one of my boys of something.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? I was like, cause like, I don't know. I don't even know how to say, no, you can't. I could speak a truth right now and say that there are people out there who lie and play victim to achieve an objective without giving a shit that they tarnish or smear someone's reputation, without someone out there getting offended, either because they know it's fucking true what I'm saying, or they're going to say, oh, well, I was a victim and that's not right to say. Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that your situation was any more or less important or valid or invalid. I'm simply saying that we have a world of smoke and mirrors now. We're more smoke and mirrors and unclear than we are actually lefts and rights.
I agree.
I mean,
completely.
look, I mean, even in New York, Cuomo was not a total piece of shit until after Trump was gone, right? Now all of a sudden, the clouds have parted and the sun has come out, and it's time to go after this fucking shit bag, right? So now he's a shit bag, huh?
Dude, and he don't want to quit. I mean, come on, you got his own party telling him to quit. He said, "F no, I'm sticking it out."
Yeah.
So listen, how many people does it take to throw you, not even under the bus? Like, you did this. Like, you think of Sandusky, 33 kids, 36 kids. Look at Bill Cosby, 30 plus.
Yeah.
This isn't 30 people didn't conspire and say you're a piece of shit. No, you are a piece of shit. You did this.
Right.
But 3 people, 2 people, or 1 person, Kavanaugh, it was that one girl and it happened, but I told him to leave the room and he did. Well, then he kind of did the right thing, but he maybe didn't do it right up until that point, but he left the room still. So when do we say the one accusation is there a mulligan? Because there are guys that do it that first time and they're pieces of junk and they need to go to prison for life.
Well, I don't know. I don't think there's ever a statute of limitations on if you really do something dirty. Like,
correct.
I mean, I don't know where the cut line to me is like you absolutely raped or sexually assaulted someone, right?
There's no statute in my eyes.
Not like, 50 years later, I'm a Supreme Court justice and some guy with a bad haircut who's in the Senate said, I a girl in junior high. You know what I mean? Because to me, then it's like, okay, well, if we're so worried about that, then, they have videos of AOC and her conduct before she became a congresswoman.
Correct.
So that's what I'm saying is I'm not saying it's necessarily there's certain actions that are absolutely like, and I don't even understand the whole incarceration process. There's certain people I think you just fucking execute them. That's just my stance. I'm like, look, why should I pay taxes to feed this fucker to go on death row?
Correct.
Piece of shit in Atlanta the other day. Just shoot the motherfucker. You know what I mean?
And
that's my stance on it. I'm like, what are we wasting time for? Well, there goes a couple subscriptions right there with that one. I'm sure someone will be conflicted with that. I got to be honest with you, right? So let me tell you a mulligan I needed. So a very good friend of mine, I actually interviewed him before. He had posted "Stop Asian Hate" before I knew what happened in Atlanta. Like as usual, bad timing. I wrote, "I love Asians." Here's a comment on Facebook, not knowing what had happened. And then my wife chimed in. She was like, "Well, it's because you are Asian." And then I found out what happened. And then this morning I was like, "Ooh, I think I posted that not knowing what happened at the massage." It was a massage parlor, I think, right? Over in just there's just disgusting people in the world, dude. I mean,
right?
You don't even got to talk about politics or color or ethnicity. There's just disgusting people in the world. And, oh man, I tell you what, I hope their engines blow up and no one helps them. Not even Rusty.
And you're stuck on the side of the road. I'm telling you, I had a terrible story yesterday. Customer comes in and their nephew was murdered, about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Over, what is it called when you're punked by a woman and she's going to meet up with you and then she never shows up?
Yeah.
What is that TV series?
Punked?
Or when you're talking to a girl for like 6 months and you're going to go meet with her, but she never shows up? You're catfish.
Oh, catfished. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know if you were talking about that or To Catch a Predator.
I could. There's that too. So catfish. This lady lost her nephew because he got catfish. Talking to a woman online, went to go meet her.
Yeah.
She had her boy shoot and kill him for $100.
Oh yeah.
Found out like it came down to the sister of the guy that murdered her nephew. He was so sick to his stomach. He knew everything that happened, and he was going to join the service. He spilled the beans and got his. Or how'd it go? Basically, it was his sister that met with the guy, and then the friend killed him. But he confessed everything. He put his sister in prison for life because he couldn't live with it. And like, how you can get a shitty person in your family, and then this amazing person that comes through and sees a light.
Yeah.
Like he says, my sister's a piece of junk. I'm going to put her in prison because she did something wrong, and I want to join the service. And he said he could not join without knowing that was out on the table. And this was yesterday. Like, this is just a customer telling me, and I don't know if all the details are completely accurate, but
that's the version you got. That's the version you got.
And I believe as much of it as I need to, and I'm not going to question somebody I just met. I'm fixing your car. But yeah, you see, the truth to something, or like how, what it takes to get the truth out in this day and age. And what is it? You've been to OSI for an investigation, right?
Oh my God. I've been investigated and been there to answer questions of an investigation.
So I've only been there on 2 occasions, and both were to explain my story for somebody else that's being investigated.
Right. And that's kind of what mine was easily cleared, but I mean, my name was thrown out there and I was like, well, that's kind of impossible. I was in Iraq, produced some orders, and they're like, okay, you're good to go.
So it must have been another Kevin James out there that did something bad, right?
No, they said it was me, but they put the time frames placed me in the United States when I was deployed. So it was it was a false accusation. Not of sexual nature.
No, it doesn't have to be. I mean, they could be investigating someone using cocaine on a military installation. I mean, it doesn't have to be.
Oh, I did have that. I did have one of those too, though.
I did not have one of those.
not cocaine. But my best OSI story is when I was a dependent and some shit happened, and the investigating special agent ended up being a mentor of mine at my first base.
Okay.
So he was the lead investigator when I was 10. Yeah, 10 of something that happened overseas when my dad was in. And then I got to my first base at 17, and we just started talking, and he was like, oh, yeah, I was an OSI agent at RAF Greenham Common at this time frame. And I was like, oh, you know what I mean? And how the story started to unfold. And I said, yeah, I was investigated for blah, blah, blah. He was like, I was the lead agent on that. And I was like, sweet. Well, I'm in the Air Force. That means I did something right.
That is awesome.
So
when did your dad retire?
He retired in 1990. You want to answer that one, Dad, since you're here?
1993.
Okay. I was a freshman, I believe. No, I was a sophomore. That was just the other day.
Yeah. Me and him were in the Air Force almost 1 year at the same time.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
You know, I know, you see the different people where their children join, and then, like I said, they're in at the same time. I think that's really cool to be able to experience that.
Yeah, it's actually, he's a pretty awesome dude. I give him a lot of crap, you know what I mean? But he's definitely always been my hero for life. He's actually tearing up right now.
Aw, don't do that to me, because I'll tear up, because I'm a little too. I'm simple.
Yeah. Hey, I'm fortunate to get to live with my pops. You know what I mean? So I'm blessed to have a wife that, has the tolerance and patience and family values. Us, most of us Asians end up, we always take care of our families and live together. So culturally, that's just kind of how we are and stuff like that. But what can I say? So back to You Love Terrell.
And you know what? When we talk on the phone, we still talk on the phone. And if we ever got too far and we don't talk on the phone anymore, obviously we went too far.
Yeah. Well, let me tell your audience this. Terrell Duckworth has been interviewed. So go check out his podcast on Kicking It with KJ. Legal Shield.
He's my legal guy, and I still have Legal Shield with him. And like I said, we have our differences.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make him a mortal enemy. It just makes him a human being. He just has these views, and I have mine.
Yeah.
I just don't agree with them. And the Cardi B was one of them. But I tell you, my friend up the street, she's from Trinidad.
Yeah.
Married to a chief. They're divorced now. But she loves Cardi B. But I tell you, we had a good discussion on there. Nobody calls each other a name. I need to use her spa when she gets put into her garage. So I'm trying to kiss her ass. I'll probably tell her to check this out.
Well,
but again, you can still talk to somebody and not make it a huge argument and fight with somebody because you don't see eye to eye. But the Cardi B thing was under my skin when we're getting rid of one thing that's so minor, but that's completely okay in Song of the Year. But we'll leave it at that.
Well, I don't think it's Cardi B. So Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion, actually, I like their music when I'm working out. I think it was more of the performance. And what's considered acceptable. You know what I mean? In the message, right?
Yep.
And so again, I'm like, I've seen all aspects of it, and I really can't calibrate it. I quite honestly, if you really asked Kevin James, like, so what do you think? My personal opinion on it is that that shit is what it is. Just like Pepe Le Pew and Dr. Seuss was. Like, don't cancel none of it. Just let motherfuckers pick and choose whether they want to watch it or not.
And I have no problem with what she did. I have the problem with what you canceled the week before she did it.
Yeah, I mean, it's that. I think that's what it goes back to. Because think about it like this. And I had a conversation with someone, right? I said, did Disney get rid of all the movies that they felt there was some racial connotation into it? No, they didn't. You know what they did, right? They put disclaimers at the beginning. So I was like, is it or is it not? But at least what they did was like, hey, listen, some people view it like this. So if you're some highly sensitive ass person, right?
Yep.
Don't watch it. I will tell you this: if I firmly believed something was wrong, I have zero problems with it being gone.
Correct.
But I think we live in a culture now where we don't know. We just don't, because I think you have a lot of us that are like, huh? I tell you, was that you I messaged? I was waiting for some of my boys to jump on that whole Pepe Le Pew shit, and I'm like, bro, you hit so much shit overseas. Give me a break. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, don't even try it. You know what I mean? I guarantee you there's some out there trying to play that old, cancel that shit out, and they're just as guilty and culpable of behaviors,
I don't, when I was 18 and I was looking for a mate for the rest of my life, you're searching, you're looking,
Right.
you look at those time frames. I know some of the crude things that probably came out of my mouth. I know it was maybe not at the level of what Trump said at 59, but it still wasn't the nicest thing in the world. I know what females say behind closed doors. It's just as bad. And again, that's at a certain age of your life where you're looking for somebody to be with, and then you find them and you're like having a daughter and you have children now or sons, and you adjust how you talk after you have those things.
Yeah. You know what? There's a lot of people out there acting like they got that. Like, shut up. You're so full of shit. I know people, I've seen plenty of people in action, right? That to the masses, oh, this is just wrong. I'm like, I've seen your conduct. Give me a break. Your best bet is just to shut up. You know what I mean? I'm sure
You've been to Korea, right?
Yeah.
So you did your year in Korea. What year when to when?
2003 to 4, before some asshole ruined the whole experience.
Oh, so I left May of 2003, and I worked at the AMC terminal. When did you get in?
Were you at the 50 worst?
Well,
I call Osan the 50 worst.
Well, we were part of that, but we were the AMC unit. We were the tenant unit, so we were not.
You were okay. But were you at Osan?
I was at Osan from May of 2003.
Okay, because I know they had like the 5th Reconnaissance Wing and all that. They had all those tenant units out there. So I was at the Wolfpack from September of 2003 to September of 2004.
Okay. So you remember the green bean and the brown bean, which now you can't drink for the first 30 days you get there. And you remember all the BS that happened. We had a tech sergeant come in, and he's ripping on everybody. How, oh my gosh, everybody is cheating on their, you guys are all sinners. You're all terrible people. You're hanging out with juicy girls, and you're just bad people.
And?
Dude was 3 weeks before he started dating a juicy girl behind his wife's back.
Really?
Like, oh, yeah, 3 weeks. He made it 3 weeks before he was buying juices like it was the last thing on planet Earth for him to do.
Oh, my gosh. Have you ever read Keys to the Kingdom?
No, I don't believe so.
There's a whole book written, The Keys to the Kingdom, How to Survive Songtan.
Do they have it in a audio version?
You know what, dude? So full transparency, I said I was going to read it and make an audio of it. Maybe I should, if you don't beat me to it. So
I'm going to. You don't.
Because maybe we should do it together. Like maybe we should get one day and just read it like this. And so they
alternate.
Yes. So it talks about how the Ajimas trained the Juicy Girls to hustle the GIs. Yep. And then every single character, whether they're American or whatever, has like a nickname. So the one that I remember the most was there was a guy he's labeled as the Invisible Man, right? So the Invisible Man is the one who actually has the money, which is usually probably your senior NCOs, right?
Probably.
They got the money. Yep. And they just sit in the background watching these young airmen spend all their money on juices. But the Invisible Man is the one who actually is, the
bar
doing things, right? So, I mean, dude, it's funny because you can tie psychology into all of this, right? So, are you familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
Yes.
Right. So if you know Maslow, then you understand that, the bottom foundation of the pyramid are needs, right? physiological needs. You need security. You need food and water. Blah blah blah. Well, most of the at the time, most of those girls went there and sent most of their money home. At the time, Correct. It was like they got $3 out of every 10. So they basically got what, 30%? 30% of every juice sold, and the house took the rest, which is why it became, you know where I'm going with this, right? So they didn't have a lot. So the Invisible Man is the one who supplied the shampoo, the food, the soap, and anyways, that's for another day. We'll have to do the book and stuff like that because they're going to be like, is this what happened to Rusty's garage? I just listened to understand how to get my AC unit serviced.
They're like, I just get my air freaking replaced on my car. What the hell is Juicy Girls?
They weren't called that when I was there.
Nothing changed.
See, so he's what were they called then, Dad?
Hose.
I have to ask your father a question.
All right, go ahead.
If he remembers Song Tang Sally, then we're on the same page.
No, I stayed myself away from the clubs.
Good for you.
I was at Suwon. We had 3 little buildings.
Okay.
So I do, though. We called her the trapdoor spider.
She's the one that, you want to go? You want to go? I was offered 100 times in 260 days, and it was me and Sandman and about half a dozen other guys. And you didn't want to be mean, but you kind of were because she made herself so readily available, and she's still working today. And then give her credit. She's a hard worker.
That's the story of resilience, though, and perseverance, right?
I'll tell you, the girl's doing something for herself, but I guarantee she's a millionaire.
Yeah,
there ain't no doubt.
I think so. Because she would stay right in that little alley, just past the tailor shop.
UN Club. I think
right.
UN Club. I saw her down that way.
Yeah, because it was that, and then I think the Marlboro was right there, the one that was upstairs.
Okay. Yep. I remember that.
It's right there at that crossing where Aragon Alley and stuff is. But yeah, look at that. Dude, this is like a 4-hour conversation. And
hey, Dan just called in. While we're talking, Dan just called me, so he's got 3 hours of telling me how they're trying to kill Russ, and I don't want this to happen because Russ is an amazing dude, and I want Dan to get resolution for his boy.
Yeah. So, well, we're gonna when you talk to him, tell him we'll try to coordinate something. Maybe we got to find when next week because yeah, dude, this is for an offline conversation, not while we're recording, but it's like you even saw today, it was this morning when I sent you the calendar invite. So but usually you're pretty good at not seeing it until I call you anyways and say, hey dude, did you see the calendar invite?
So I have 33,000 unread emails. I don't know if that means anything.
No, not to me. It don't because you remind me of my me and my stepson. We're just going back and forth on text, right? Yep. And he same thing. I don't know if you know one of my pet peeves. One of my pet peeves is response, right? And the only people that kind of have, if you're a superior in my job, then I really have nothing to say about it. However, comma space. Any other time, it's pet peeve. So, long story short, his excuse was, look at all these unread messages, right? So it was like, let's say it was 400 unread messages. That's a typical young, inexperienced alibi, wouldn't you say? Like, hey, look, I didn't respond to you, but look, I didn't respond to all these other people, right?
You're one of 400 acknowledged.
That's right. And I said, let me tell you something. I said, I don't give a shit about those other 399. I was like, treat me like the other 399 and I'll reciprocate if you're ready to be treated like that.
That's it.
You know what I mean? I was like, you don't do that to family and you don't do that to people. And I just posted that Busta Rhymes video about and this has nothing to you.
Talked about that just now. Yep.
Right. It's like, he said it. I don't have, at this point in time in my life, I don't got time for people who want to act like I'm not a priority. I don't have to be a priority to you, Anyways, dude, let me not go off on that tangent.
when you called me, it was 5 minutes before the hour, and I said, "Hey, I'm finishing up with a customer. I'll call you right back." But I could have blatantly ignored it, finished with the customer, and you've already had a missed call now. It's like, Rusty burnt me.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I call you back. No, I answer, and I'll tell people, and my friends know it. They're like, "When are you going to call me back, Rusty? 2 or 3 days?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm answering your question. I'm answering your call now."
Yeah.
Hey, me. But I will call you back. They're like, "Wow, how soon?" I said, "I don't know. It could be 2 weeks." But I'm responding right now that I acknowledge you.
No, you're good. This is not a passive aggressive poke at you. This is just me sharing a story about. I know with me and you, we said we're good at this time. That I do the calendar more for me, but because you're credible. I've had other people who said they want to come on the show that I send a calendar invite to, and they don't accept it. And it's the day before, and I'm saying, "Hey,
You know I didn't accept it today. I'm going to give you that AMSOIL for free."
No, dude, you're a show. Like, you have to show up. I know you're going to show up. I just want to make sure that we're tracking the same time. Does that make sense? The difference?
It does, 100%.
Yeah, I'm when it's someone else, I'm like, are you fucking going to be a guest or not? With you, you have a show. Like, you're like a Seinfeld episode. So I know you're going to be there. I'm just making sure that me and you didn't have a disconnect in conversation. That
Correct.
Kind of the difference, right? It's kind of like the difference between going back to our homie Terrell, right? So I'll throw this out to Terrell because it's out there on public anyways, right? He's like, "Oh, before everybody gets excited, don't forget to delete your porn." I'm like, "Bro, you're talking about porn. Porn is not on Channel 5.
It's not supposed to be.
No, but I'm like, dude, that is absolutely the worst segue into starting an argument. You know what I mean? And obviously you saw, I was like, "What, you're saying you don't want me to watch my porn?" That ain't happening. So anyways, dude.
What we got to do is we can alternate. Like, I do love the Rusty's Garage and car related stuff, and I like feedback.
Yeah.
And I haven't had this many people Facebook message me on the side, and I don't know if it's from you, Rusty Garage, or if it's me just putting a little bit more on Facebook about cars I'm working on. But I'm getting about 5 to 8 a week now. Just, "Rusty, this is going on with my vehicle. I don't live in Texas. What's going on?"
Yeah.
I love that shit.
No, I think if you really want to step it up a little bit, like one day you should just see if one of them wants to be like with you. Just jump on the podcast. Like, the Haitian guy would have been great.
Oh, I'll tell you, this guy is educated. This boy, he works for Wells Fargo, and I'll tell you, this guy, he does all the hiring and firing at 24 years old for Wells Fargo. I would love to have him on this podcast about Haiti and what he feels about the military saving him and, his friends' lives that did walk away from the earthquake.
Dude, our next one, bring him. He can be literally like a real life customer satisfaction. Like, does it make sense? Like he is actually a testimonial for you.
And I'll tell you, this guy, after he Facebook stalked me, after getting so I got an Army vet here, and he just showed up, and he's got keys for a Sebring, and his vehicle's not going into gear. And so I told him I'm on the podcast, and he's hanging loose. He's not going to chuck me, anything at me. But this guy did his research on me before he came to me, and I'll tell you, he's like, "Rusty, you're my mechanic now." It was not even I'm going to look around and see if there's someone a better deal. He's just like, "Rusty, you're my mechanic."
Is he there?
I met him this morning.
I mean, he's physically there.
He's right here. Retired Army.
Dude, you should put it. You should put it on. Put him on the phone real quick to do a quick 3-minute like why Rusty's Garage is the shit, and then we'll wrap it up so you can go handle your business with him.
Let's do that. So Alex is here. He's got keys for a Sebring. He'd be the second Sebring this week with the bushing goes bad in the shifter assembly. So your vehicle will shift, but the park indicator doesn't come out of park because the bushing failed, came off the actual shifter knob, And so you can move the shifter all day long, but you ain't moving that car till we get the bushing fixed. You want to talk to Alex?
Yeah, let's have Alex get on there if he wants to and introduce himself, and I can give him the applause and everything like that if he wants to.
Yeah, I'm right here.
Alex, welcome. Oh, hold up. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Good, brother. We got to make up. I guess apparently you've been waiting there this whole time listening to me and Rusty talk shit. So least we could do is make you a celebrity for a few minutes. So how'd you find Rusty?
As a matter of fact, I went to an AutoZone to buy a part, and then I asked if he knew any good mechanics in the area, and he gave me Rusty's card and called him up. He's done a couple of jobs for me so far.
It was his card in between the strippers and tattoo parlor ones?
As a matter of fact, it was. I already had those cards, so I picked Rusty.
Oh, hell yeah. I love it, man. Well, Alex, that's pretty awesome. And hey, you're Army, right? So how long were you Army? Are you Army now or former Army?
No, I did 30 years in the Army.
You did 30 years in the Army?
Yes.
Officer enlisted?
Enlisted.
Were you a sergeant major or a CSM?
Yes, a sergeant major.
Okay, sergeant major. I'm a retired sergeant major equivalent in the Air Force. So I was retired chief master sergeant. Didn't quite hit 30, did 28 plus, and it was time to roll. So sergeant major, thank you for your service, man. And for this quick jump on, hey, any shout outs you want to give before you pass the phone back to Russ? Family, friends, who's? Nothing?
Family in Chicago. Gonzalez family in Chicago.
Oh, badass. All right, Chicago. Alex, it's a pleasure to meet you. And if you pass back to Russ, I will make sure we wrap this up so he can get you squared away, sergeant major.
It is. Thank you.
Well,
Hey, Kev.
all right, brother.
So let's keep in touch, and let's schedule 2 weeks.
Yeah, we need that's been our battle rhythm. So what I'll do, man, is we'll work that on the back end. Any last words for the audience, Rusty, before we hang up?
You know what? Be good to one another. Guess what? You know what? These arguments on Facebook, these arguments are get through it. Make sure you're not destroying families over this stuff and friendships. Terrell, I love you, dude. Listen to this shit. We're gonna get through this, and let's hope we don't keep canceling everything that hurts every little feeling out there.
All right, and one last thing, Russ forgot. If you're gonna make
thank
love,
you, Kevin.
No. But if you're gonna make love on that hot Texas night on that black leather, put a towel down because you might get burnt. And if you're so inclined, please run over those skunks because damn it, Pepe Le Pew, you stink. All right, everybody. You have a good day. This has been Rusty's Garage, Kicking It with KJ. Have a blessed day. Take care.